Hello, hello. My name is Laura Scarlett Martin. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Matrix Mortgage Global, and I'm here to talk to you about starting your own mortgage business, or if you're already in the mortgage business, how Matrix can specifically offer you a totally different way of doing business. So I'm going to get right into it, and if you need to rewatch this again, you can do it. It's going to be recorded. If you need to get in touch with me, you can do that. I'm going to put my Calendly link in the comments that you should be able to see. And potentially, if you have any questions, you can put that in the chat. And at the end, I'll try and get to as many as possible. But let's keep it short and sweet and get the show on the road. So, I am going to first talk about what mortgage brokering is, or being an agent is. Essentially, you facilitate real estate financing for borrowers by working with over 200 lenders, Canadian lenders in the market. There's many borrowers that cannot just walk into a bank, and they really rely on the broker space, although brokers can also send their clients to the bank. With a mortgage agent license, you can do residential, commercial, construction, and business financing. So this is super key. You can also do personal loans, which of course aren't as lucrative but are handy nonetheless. Within business financing, that can include like leasing for equipment related to like trucking or restaurants and that kind of thing. So it's a very, very good license to have. You could take it to the bank, honestly, for the rest of your life. You would have to take my agent and broker license from my cold, dead hands. And our philosophy at Matrix, the company, which was built up and founded by Sean Allen, his wife, and the managing director, Carla Allen, myself, as well as Anthony Sinet, and many other people that have had a huge hand in building up Matrix. Our philosophy is to educate, innovate, and empower. We believe that we are much bigger than mortgages. It's not just a belief, it's factual. But we really have built an organization that is a cut above the rest. We focus heavily on training, marketing, and underwriting, because without these things, you cannot be a successful mortgage broker or agent. You cannot competently advise your clients, and you won't be able to navigate the very choppy and sometimes complex waters of real estate finance. With us, not only will we give you all of this training and infrastructure, but we'll give you something much bigger than that, which is access to networks and spheres of influence with our events. Because for yourself, your network is your net worth. And if you're not constantly out there, like your main revenue generating activity is to find referral partners, find borrowers, and have your deal flow going. You want high net worth individuals, self-employed people. These kinds of people are people you want on your roster of clients. You're going to want to network with referral partners like lawyers, realtors, accountants, contractors, and all the rest. We know people in political office. We have ties with the Scarborough Business Association and MLSE I'll get into later. But I think, especially post-COVID, people are really dying to get out in person. And if you have an event, an anchor event to draw them into, if you have constant activity that you're attending and broadening your horizons with, it's just a matter of time until everything falls into place for you and you have very steady deal flow. A little bit about us. So in 2008, we were founded by Sean Allen during the great financial crisis. This really inspired us to focus on alternative and private lending, because before, basically, you could get an approval for a mortgage with your income written on a napkin and like a so-so credit with zero down. Like anyone could get a mortgage or a house. Then things changed drastically. 2008, we saw like 50% of the lenders disappear from the market. Couldn't even get an A deal done. So we were like, my goodness, we really need to focus on lending, on controlling the money. So that's where we got solution-based lending as our tagline. We started to create a very vast network of private lenders and became very adept in that kind of financing. In 2013, Sean, with his database administration background, saw a massive need for more deal flow. He was looking down the barrel of his last 20 grand. And he's like, you know what, I'm going to throw this at advertising. So he started doing Google ads, and that absolutely sustained itself. First, it was 4 deals closed, then 10, and 20. And it definitely, sustained itself. And that's how we were really able to grow and expand and be extremely competitive in the space. Fast forward to today, we have over 2 million ad impressions per year. And I think that it's done quite a lot for us. But in 2017, we had a record-breaking year. We were on the Growth 500 list 2 years in a row for fastest growing companies in Canada across every single industry, not just mortgages. We've been on the Canadian Mortgage Awards top brokerage of the year recipients for private lending award winner 5 years in a row from 2018 to 2022. And in 2022, Sean Allen, who's the founder of Matrix, also became a Walk of Fame star for his contributions to the business community in Scarborough. So we're so proud of Sean for that, and we are so proud of Matrix for all of its accomplishments. In between, of course, there's been lots of events, but this is just a highlight reel. As I was saying, we have massive exposure to circles of influence. In fact, up and coming in September is the Toronto Business Summit, where we'll have over 500 attendees and speakers from Dragon's Den, from the municipal Toronto, provincial government, like the full federal government. We'll have people talking about grants and access to equity. We'll have people talking about marketing, business planning. We're on board with University of Toronto schools. So as you can see, this is a massive event. This is one of many that we put on throughout the year. And in addition to that, we have partnerships with the Toronto Raptors, with the Scarborough Business Association, City of Toronto, MLSE. We do yacht networking events and things like that. So we really are way bigger than mortgages. We're focused on helping the larger business industries as well as housing industries. We work with development companies. We work with various business associations to keep ourselves relevant and embedded. I don't think it's good to only focus on one thing. I think that there's a lot of verticals, and we really focus on building out those verticals so that you have more access to referral partners and professional development opportunities. So I'm going to talk a little bit about brokering risks and rewards. I don't think enough people talk about the risks. So I want to just dispel that right off the gun. So here's the thing. Probably 60% of people that get their mortgage agent license will drop off after the first year. Well, the thing is that there's that 80-20 kind of rule of thumb where 80% of the business is going to 20% of the producers. And this is true in probably a lot of industries. However, it's certainly true in this one, as well as real estate. So the key here is that although there's 7 million borrowers, a lot of that market share is going to go to the brokers that are A, established, and B, throwing major dollars on marketing spend and have all this clout and network already. So it's really important in terms of your strategy, whether you're a newer agent or kind of cresting in the middle of your career, is to create a strategy for partnerships, referral partnerships, repeat business, online presence, all those good things. Deal flow is going to be the number one thing that determines whether you eat this month or not. Basically, to give you a frame of reference, for every 10 people you talk to that need a mortgage, about 3 of those will become a closed mortgage deal that you earn a commission on. Training is another huge one. So in terms of training, a lot of brokerages are mom and pop shops where they don't have the infrastructure to do regular scheduled training with different lenders, with talking about underwriting and deals. Most of the time they'll say, just send your deal to me, I'll do it and give you some of the commission. That's it. They don't have time for you. They're working on their own deals. They maybe have an established roster of agents that don't need any hand-holding, and you'll find yourself really looking for support and not finding it. So we have actually done the work to build up an infrastructure that has several layers of management, training, and mentorship that guides you through new lending products every Tuesday, underwriting principles every Wednesday, and I do marketing training on Thursdays, sometimes concurrently and sometimes with like little bits of pre-recorded video. The last major shortfall is poor exposure in general to consumers, to mentors, to the events, to what's going on in the industry at large in general. And having a no-name brokerage does not help you. It does not help your cause, especially if you're a brand new agent. You don't have any expertise to rely on and say, oh, I did 200 deals before, and things like that, right? So when you join Matrix, if you're new, you have that leverage to say, I'm with the 5-time brokerage of the year for private lending. I have a team of underwriters that are heavily experienced, and I have my own private fund. We have such brand recognition as well. Like I said, over 2 million ad impressions across Canada. Most people will have heard of Matrix Mortgage if they've ever searched for a mortgage. Now the fun stuff. So, good stuff is that you can stop trading time for money finally and build your own legacy. This is not something to be downplayed. This is absolutely massive. My life has so greatly improved since I've been able to control my own schedule, and so will yours. This is a 100% remote opportunity. Our underwriters work 9 to 5 so that you don't have to. They do all of the work in terms of submitting to the lenders, helping you get the documents, doing all the forms, the disclosure forms, and so on, instructing the lawyers, ordering appraisals, all that good stuff. So you're able to just focus on gaining a larger client base, going to network events, and servicing those clients, being there for them, being in communication, and like sharpening your skills as a broker. The other one is exponential returns. So the reason that you'll have to take my brokering license from my cold dead hands is because 16 years later, I have deals falling out of the sky just because people know I'm a broker. I have renewals every single year. So if I did 10 deals last year, about 4 or 5 of those are going to mature this year. So I have those same clients coming back to me saying, hey, can I get a new mortgage? Or hey, can I get another second mortgage? Or I want to buy another property, and so on. Especially if you build a book of real estate investors as your clients, you're going to see exponential returns year after year and a steady growth in your client base. That's going to be a steady growth in your bottom line. Lastly, we automate those verticals for you. So while, like I said, 80% of the process of underwriting is done by our in-house team, you can focus on revenue generating activities. Some of you may have another job, such as being a real estate agent or an accountant or whatever. Maybe you're a contractor or you're in car sales. It could be a lot of things. Anyone can get into this industry if they are over 18, Canadian resident, and free of a criminal record that includes fraud and the type. So if you are those things, you can be a broker and you can benefit from these things while doing your other job. You can be a broker as well. So it works out. You can be both. Although I will say it's important that you spend at least 10 to 15 hours a week on mortgage activities so that it's something that's top of mind, right? Like if you're not talking about it, if you're not reading about it, if you're not involved with it, it will quickly become one of those things that just, you have in title, but you don't really do. And that's not what I want for you. I want you to make a lot of money, which you can. So how it basically works is we would talk one-on-one because everyone's path is a little bit different. Some of you might already be licensed. Some of you might just be thinking about it. Some of you may have already done the course, but typically step 1 is we do a discovery call. 2 is we send out a contract. 3 is we would sign you up for the course. The licensing course is usually anywhere from 1 week, which is like 5 business days, from 10 to 4. You could do that online. You can also do it concurrently with no live training, although I don't recommend it. And they may still have in-person classes. You can also do alternate things like 5 Sundays and things like that. So there's very, very flexible arrangements for the course. Once you're done that, it's a fairly simple licensing exam. It's about 50 multiple choice questions. You only need 60% to pass. And you can do a pre-quiz test to know basically what you know and what you don't know. So it's more or less foolproof. You'll get that done. You'll do the exam. Once you get your little certificate that says I've passed the mortgage agent licensing course, bring that to us and we register you with the regulator, which is FSRA, the Financial Services Regulatory Authority, as an agent or a broker, either agent level 1 or level 2 or broker. If you are already registered as an agent or broker, then we would just initiate the switch right after we review your contract and we get your information. Lastly, you'll be off to the races. Like this whole thing, front to back, could be 2-3 weeks. And then you'll receive your onboarding call that takes you through setting up your email signature, accessing our resources, getting you in our our Google chat group where you can ask questions anytime, 24/7. People will respond, all those good things. So you'll get properly onboarded and then start falling into our regular training schedule. So, of course, with any new business, there's going to be a cost. I think that it's a very reasonable cost, considering that to be a real estate agent, it would take you a year and a half to a year, as well as about $8,000 in courses, and then another $5,000 in licensing fees. Versus this is only $2,500. That covers your course, your licensing fees, your errors and omissions insurance, your landing page, business cards, G Suite email, Canada-wide license, the works. If you're an existing agent, you would only have to pay $1,500 because you've already paid your FSRA dues, although you have to pay E&O again. That's why it's $1,500. As a bonus, because as I mentioned, deal flow is so important. If you don't have much deal flow, you don't really have a plan for marketing, we can give you 10 leads for $1,000 to get you going so that you have actual clients to call, actual leads to work, and you can start getting your teeth in there doing the business without talking about it too much. So our goal is to get you closing your first deal within the first 90 days. That's what we really want for you. We'll push you to do that. So as a recap, without Matrix, there'd be no in-house underwriting, especially one that does everything from pre-qualification right through the approval. They usually will just do things like submit it, but then make you go for everything else. You would have no in-house private fund to provide clients with the lowest rates of fees. Private lending has gone up considerably over the last 5 years, especially as these CMHC rules took place, the stress test took place, it became much harder to qualify. So there was an increasing need for private lending in that market. And we at Matrix have our own fund, Capital, where you can say, I am the lender, you are approved, you know the pricing, and you can keep the cost down because there's no need to co-broker it, and you get some of the best rates and fees on the market. There'd be no live training that's regular, at least, and very minimal professional development from other industry leaders. So these are major considerations. Lastly, with Matrix, you would have the marketing support, the lead generation, social media ads, live events, referral partners, coaching on how to get your social media going, in-house underwriting to do 80% of the work for you, which I'm telling you is going to massively improve the amount of deals you close. For me, I am so bad at checking off small little boxes, whereas my underwriters are amazing. They're on the ball with everything, and they're keeping that dial moving so that I can focus on getting more business and not focus on closing the one I have. The benefit of the 5-time Brokerage of the Year private lending title is huge, especially if you are a newer agent without any credibility for yourself, at least something you can point to saying, oh, I'm nominated Broker of the Year or something like that. It's hard to gain that credibility and stand out in the crowd. There's over 15,000 mortgage agents in Ontario, so you really got to stand out. We offer you that, and with our private lending side, you can now get co-broker business. A huge portion of my business comes from other brokers that don't know how to underwrite private mortgages. So you will be hugely benefited from that extra vertical as well. That's it. That's all I'm going to talk about for today. I wanted to keep it short and sweet. If you have questions, throw it in the chat. If you don't have questions, here's my Calendly. And I would love it if you got in touch. We could talk about it some more. I would love to hear about your personal journey, what brings you to brokering, and how we can help you along your way.